Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over the market, let's go over Tesla, let's go over what has happened to this fresh start, not only to the week, but of course to the month as well. So market is now closed, Tesla going down pretty much 1.5%, closing out just shy of $162 compared to the market itself. Definitely a bit of an underperformance, nothing absolutely severe, but absolutely an underperformance regardless. So let's discuss what happened. What does it mean? Is this bad? Is this good? Are we just going down from here? We're going up from here? We're going sideways from here? Let's try to figure all this out. As usual, if you enjoy, please don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Make your decisions, do your own research. So jumping right into it, first thing I want to start off with is actually going to be, let's do the daily first actually. So on the daily, what we see is essentially a smaller version of the hammer candle that we saw over here. Now, some people will refer to this as a hanging man candle, which is, ooh, that's not a good candle actually, man. That's interesting on the SPY. But nonetheless, people will be looking at this candle on Tesla. You know, arguably some people can make it look like a hanging man candle, which is essentially the same as a hammer candle, just in an uptrend as opposed to a downtrend, right? Usually these kind of candles in an uptrend signify a reversal. Another thing some bears can argue is the fact that it is essentially an inside candle, which is essentially saying that the trading range today was within the previous day's trading range, which of course was Friday. As you can see, this candle pretty much got fully encompassed by this candle right before it, which of course was Friday, right? So those are usually reversal signals. However, I argue the fact that the, I guess, validity or I guess the weight is not, I wouldn't put much weight into it. And the reason I say that is because, first of all, the volume is pretty low. But more importantly, this, again, like I said, usually signals a reversal. We haven't had much of a rally. We've had 2 days of green. I mean, it's okay green days as well, don't get me wrong, but it's not like some massive reversal or some massive rally we had. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, what are you really even reversing, right? We barely have had any rally whatsoever. So that's why I personally don't put too much weight into it. And instead, I'll give you a different perspective. That's a bullish perspective, short term. I want to make it very clear, just short term, maybe like literally just this week, maybe next week. But again, short term. That's very, very important. Man, I don't know if you guys hear that thunderstorm outside, but nonetheless, so this is the perspective I personally have. So first and foremost, and again, I'm personally viewing this more bullish and bearish as of right now. First and foremost, on the 1 hour, we still have a beautiful bullish divergence, whereas the stock was heading lower, this was heading higher, and now you can see it is still overall looking bullish on the RSI, in my opinion, for now. Today's movement was also essentially, you can argue, a movement of a retest of this breakout of the blue line. Obviously, it didn't come exactly quite to it, but, you know, pretty close for the most part. So where I can argue that, you know what, it got close enough to the point where you can consider this essentially a retest of the breakout from this blue line that we had, I believe on Friday it was, right? So that to me is arguably that, which if that's the case, of course, that is, in my opinion, a bullish thing. The fact that it did, so far at least, bounce from there. But the probably even more bullish aspect that I personally see as of right now is an inverted head and shoulders pattern like this setting up, right? Which of course is another bullish pattern, right? Bullish reversal. Now keep in mind, it is a small one. It is a small inverted head and shoulders, and it is on the 1 hour time frame, right? You can technically make an argument, you know, here as well. But the point is, it's a very small inverted head and shoulders, right? There's not much weight to it, right? It's not like some massive overplayed head and shoulders, like for instance, maybe that we have on the daily, as you can see here, right? You can argue the fact that there is overall massive inverted head and shoulders playing out, you know, something like this, right? That's like obviously substantially, right? It's not only on the daily, but you can see how much more just like trading happened within this, I guess, pattern, if you will, right? That usually holds a bit more weight to it. And if it does execute, that usually has a much more promising result. So with that being said, because this is a very tiny inverted head and shoulders, even if it does execute, which I think it will, the rally from this wouldn't be something completely severe, and nor would it last all that long. But nonetheless, it would mean that there is more upside ahead. So let's talk about the key levels for this pattern to, you know, essentially play out to the bullish side. First and foremost, the bulls. What do they not want to see? The bulls definitely don't want to see essentially lower than today, right? The low that we hit today was pretty much the perfect spot to bounce at, right? That was exactly where we needed to bounce, and we did, because it lines up with this left shoulder right here, which is ideal because it makes it a little more, I guess, pretty, if that makes sense. But you can also see we did bounce off the 0.5-ish level as well. Initially, we bounced off the 0.382, but the 0.5 is perfectly fine. We pretty much went right off the 0.5 level as well, which is exactly more or less what you want to be seeing as well. One of these two levels, in my opinion, is perfectly fine to hold this arguable bullish momentum that we have in the short term. So that's number one. The bulls definitely want to see this kind of 158-ish level hold. So far, it is, which is good. Second, what do the bulls want to see for this pattern to truly play out? In my opinion, the bulls are really going to want to see it break above, I would say, to 165 to 166, something like that. Around that level, you really want to see it break, right? Somewhere around this overall level up here, you really want to see it break above that. And if we do, most likely we will come up at the very least to this kind of level up here of 167 to 170. And if that breaks, then the next level absolutely will be, in my opinion, at the very least somewhere to the mid 170s, if not as high as potentially even 180, right? So those are the main levels I would personally be paying attention to, and I would be eyeballing very, very closely to see if they play out. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this for now. And the reason this is also bullish on top of everything else I just said is because we talked about this on Friday, but you can see on the weekly candle, right, we had a beautiful weekly candle close last week, right, with this massive wick at the bottom where the bulls essentially stepped in, bought up Tesla when it fell pretty aggressively, and then ended up with a pretty bullish reversal looking weekly candle, which to me signifies, in theory, again, nothing is certain in the market, nothing is guaranteed, nothing is obvious. You have to kind of play it as it happens. But from what it shows, this candle alone does show a bullish reversal taking place that should be playing out in theory this week. So that's also what I'm thinking about as well. So all of these things. Now, of course, naturally, we do have a pretty important date coming up on Wednesday, right? We have the FOMC meeting and rate hike announcement. Expected is obviously 25 basis points, which is most likely what we'll get. And then people, I believe, are expecting a pause after that. So we'll see how that actually, how the market responds to all of that. But as of right now, strictly looking only at Tesla, nothing else. It does look still, in my opinion, bullish as long as it holds above this kind of, 159, 158-ish level. As long as that holds, I'm bullish. And especially if we break above this kind of, 165, 166 level, then I'm definitely bullish for sure for a move at the very least up to very high 160s, if not all the way potentially even up to 180, right? Somewhere around that range. But again, for the short term, I am bullish. However, with that being said, if this actually does play out the way I just described, then let's say, we ultimately make our way somewhere like roughly up here, let's just say, I do believe that at the very least we will come down and at the very least retest this low over here. If not, go even lower for the gap fill down here, right? That is what I think will happen. And I'm pretty confident that will happen. I just don't know when it'll happen and how long it'll take, but I do think it will happen. And that's something I'm also personally going to be waiting on. And we'll see kind of, if that actually comes to fruition or not, but I do believe it will. Obviously, if this does not hold, then if we break below 145 and especially 140, that's pretty damn bad. That pretty much will make us go down all the way to 130, if not even as low as 120. Like 124, 125, somewhere in the low to mid 120s. And that would be a little bit scary. And that would arguably throw off, in my opinion, this bullish thesis that Tesla has this reversal set up, which again, as I talked about before, Tesla did essentially make a higher high right over here where it did break this high over here, which of course was the 200 level. So that to me is a really good sign that it set a higher high. Now all we want to see it do is set a higher low, which essentially, in this case would be higher than this level right here, which is 107. But ideally it'd be up here, either where it is right now, honestly, or even at this 145 level. And again, we've talked about this many times, but to reiterate one more time, mainly because the Fibonacci 0.618 is essentially at that 145 level, and the other level is essentially at 160, which is pretty much where we're at right this very moment. So those are the two levels that I would really want to hold for this bullish thesis to really truly hold and play out moving forward several months and potentially into the rest of the year for Tesla. That's the way I'm personally looking at it right now, and we'll see if it plays out. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated every single day unless something happens and I can't make a video. Pretty much giving you guys my thoughts, giving you guys an idea of anything that changes. Again, with this market, you have to be very adaptive. Things can change with the snap of a finger, Elon's tweet, whatever, right? You have to be very reactive and very understanding the fact that, just because this is what it looks like right now, doesn't mean it has to play out like that. Things can change in the snap of a finger. So make sure you're, aware of that. That's extremely important in my opinion. But as usual, I'll do my very best to keep you guys updated as to what I am personally thinking. But as usual, it is of course just my thoughts. On top of that, I will also be soon opening up a membership for this channel where it'll only be like $2 or $3 a month that you pay. But essentially what that's going to offer you is going to be me posting in the members chat chart updates of Tesla in real time throughout the trading day whenever I think something has happened that's worth sharing. So you don't have to wait until the end of the day, until the market closes. I'll be sharing it as it happens in real time during market hours in case you're curious about that, and giving you my thoughts like that more in, like real time, like I said. So that will be coming very soon. So if you're interested for that, stay tuned, I guess. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. The VIX is still finding a lot of issues to bounce. So VIX is still looking pretty weak. So we'll see how that actually comes out. SPY is definitely, you know, looking a little bit weak on this candle here. Definitely a reversal candle here. I did actually close out my short on SPY. A little bit of a loss, mainly because I didn't like the way it was protruding up into this area. But this is why I never buy options. I hate buying options. I only like selling options. I really don't like buying options personally because time is against you, and I hate that. But that's just my personal opinion, and that's my strategy. But thank you all so much for watching, guys. Do appreciate it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.